Hello students, in this video, I'm going to show and explain how to plot a histogram. But before we look into the steps of plotting a histogram, let us first know what a histogram is. So from the slide here, you can see that a histogram is a column diagram or graph which is used to represent group data that is presented in the form of a frequency distribution. In a histogram, the class intervals are usually given along the OX axis and the frequency along OY axis. That is, while drawing a histogram, the class intervals are usually plotted along the OX axis and the frequency along OY axis. Okay, now I will show you the figure, okay, of a histogram. So this is a histogram which I have drawn using the insert graph function, okay, whereby I have selected a histogram. Now when you look at the histogram here, okay, all right, so when you look at this histogram, you can see that the columns, okay, this is one column, the second column, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth column. Six columns or bars, okay, they are attached closely to one another, and there are no gaps seen in between the columns or the vertical bars. This is so because the class intervals, okay, now when you look here, 1 and 5, the lowest score is 1 and the highest is 5. Next here in the second one, you have 5 to 9, then 9 to 13, 13 to 17, 17 to 21, 21 to 25. You will see the repetition of the upper score, okay, which becomes the lower score of the next interval. See, the highest score here, 9, becomes the lowest score of the next interval. So this goes on, okay. So the gaps are not seen because the series or the class intervals are given in the form of the exclusive class series or the exclusive class interval, whereby the upper score here of this interval is not considered, okay, but it is the lower score which is being considered. So this continues with all the class intervals, okay. So this takes us to the first step, okay, of drawing the histogram. All right, okay. Now, so in order to understand better, let us consider this example. All right, the marks of 57 students in an achievement test in mathematics. So you see here the class intervals are given, okay, but then please note that this interval, the class intervals are given in the inclusive class series or the inclusive form, whereby the lower score and upper score are both considered. Okay, so here you have the frequencies. Now, if data is in this form, you won't be able to plot the histogram, all right? Because this type of data is usually meant for plotting a frequency polygon. So in that case, in step number 1, what we need to do is we need to convert the class intervals, okay, this inclusive into exclusive or into the continuous class interval. And how do we do that? We do that by subtracting zero point 0.5 from the lower score and adding 0.5 to the upper score. Okay, so from 40, if we minus or if we subtract 0.5, you will get 39.5. Okay, then you have 44.5 0.5, because why? 0.5 will be added. Okay, go to the next 45. Now if you subtract 0.5 from here, you will get 44.5. Okay, so then this will go on to 49.5, because we're going to add 49.5, sorry, 0.5 into the upper score. So this will go on. Okay, okay. So in this way, we have converted this inclusive class interval into the exclusive class interval, whereby the series is being made or converted into a continuous form. All right, so that will be the first step. Okay, how did we get this? We subtract 0.5, okay, from the lower score, and we add 0.5 to the upper score. Now next, in the second step, we need to determine the length of OX and OY axis. Okay, so how do we do that? Now see, now in order to get the length, we need to count the intervals. Okay, I will start right from this point. Okay, 1. Okay, so you have the first interval, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so now here, since we will include both, we need to include both the scores. Okay, so I have to go till this last score. So if I have altogether 11, I need to add 1. Okay, 1 unit for this last score. So accordingly, I will be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this last score, that is 12. Okay, so length of OX axis will be 12 units if I take the big square. Now if I consider, or if I want to write in terms of small squares, it will be 10 small squares, all right, into 12 units, okay, which will be equal to 120 small squares. So along OX, I will be having how much? 120 small squares, or 12 units. Okay. Then similarly, as in the case of the frequency polygon, here also for the length of OY, in order to make the graph or the histogram proportionate, we will take 3/4 of OX axis. Okay. So 3/4 of OX. Now what? How much is OX? OX is 120. Okay. So if I calculate, see, 40 into 120, I will be getting 30, isn't it? Okay. So if I cross this 20, I will be getting 30 over here. Okay, so 3 into 30 will be 90. So this one also I will. Okay, I will cancel this. So altogether I will get 90. Okay. So the length of OY axis will be 90 small squares. So now we also need to determine the length or the units along OY axis. Okay, it will be length of OY divided by the highest frequency. Okay, so what is the length of OY? Accordingly, it is 90. So we divide by the highest frequency. Let us see what is the highest frequency. 2, 3, 8. So 9 is the highest frequency. Okay, can you see? 9 here is the highest frequency. All right. So in order to determine the units along OY, we take length of OY by highest frequency. And the highest frequency in this case, it will be 9. Okay, so 90 divided by 9, you will get how much? 10 small squares. So along OY also we will take 10 small squares. Okay, so on the basis of this we will determine the scale. Okay, so along OX 12 units. So if there are 12 units or 120 small squares, it means that we are taking 1 unit or 10 small squares is equal to 1 in class interval. All right, and along OY we are taking again 1 unit or 10 small is equal to 1 frequency. So we have determined the scale. All right, so now we are going to plot the histogram using a graph paper. Okay, all right. All right, okay, so accordingly we are going to draw, all right, or to plot the frequency. So accordingly we'll be needing 2 axes or x-axis and the OY axis. All right, so you have here over here. Okay, so this will be our x and this will be our y. Okay, so we have OX and OY. So this side it will be the class interval. Okay, and this side we will have the frequency. Okay, so along OX the class interval, along OY the frequency. So now, as determined by the scale, we are to take 10 small squares or 1 unit for one interval. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. We have 12 units, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 7, then 8, and 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, all right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, all right. Similarly, this side we're going to have 9 because it's 90. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, then we're going to put the points. Okay, so the first point will begin at 39.5. Okay, then the second point here I will put down it is how much? 44.5. 44.5. Okay, so this will go on till the last point, that is 94.5 if I'm not wrong. All right. Okay, so now from 39.5 to 44.5, okay, we're going to select, oh yes, we're going to plot the frequency as well. Put the points along frequency. So we'll have frequency 1 here, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, frequency 9. All right. So then now we will put the points. For the first class, 39.5 to 44.5, the frequency is how much? 2. Okay, if you look into the table. So I will put this 2. Here. Okay, then the second to the third is 3. Then the next frequency is 5. Next frequency is 7. Next frequency is 8. Okay, the next frequency is 9. Then the next class you have frequency 8. The next class you have frequency 6. Next class you have frequency 4. Next class you have frequency 3. And the next class, the last class you have frequency 2. All right, so we have put the points. Now we're going to join the points. All right. You can use a pencil and a ruler in order to get the straight histogram, an upright straight histogram. Right, so I'm joining the points one by one. Please make sure you use a ruler and a pencil. Alright, so see. After joining all the points, see you're getting a histogram now. Alright, so over here you can write the scale. Okay. Along OX, how much did you get? 1 unit is equal to 1 interval CI, and along OY, OY is equal to, not equal to exactly, you will use along OX. Okay, 1 unit is equal to 1 class interval, and along OY it will be 1 unit is equal to 1 frequency. Alright, so this is how you're going to plot the histogram. Okay, now depending on the question, you will also give the title. Alright, the title of the graph, histogram showing marks in mathematics. Alright, okay, so in this way you are going to draw the histogram. So I hope all of you are clear as to how to draw a histogram. So I'm going to stop now. Thank you.